Okay, let's hear about your 4D traveling. I am so down for this shit. You don't know how excited I am here about your 4D traveling. Let me take a book. Let me grab a book so that I can write about your 4D traveling. Where is my book of science? That's not my book of science. Is my book of science in the next room? There is nothing weird in according to science. As long as it makes sense, it's not weird. And I assume that you make sense. Fuck, my my science book might be on the other room. Fuck. Or I might have just lost my science book. If I have lost my science book, it's definitely weird. It's definitely gonna ruin my mood. Wait, you write it, okay? Like, don't even think about it. Just explain it. I will figure it out. There is no fucking book here. Okay, this okay, this works. Oh yeah, this works absolutely. Yeah, speak. You know Prism, right? Yes, I indeed. I am aware of Prism. Okay, let's just hope for the traveling Prism. I am aware of Prism. That is the main thing here. Okay, let me get my Google as well so that go ahead, speak. So we have Prism. That isn't physically possible, at least for now. First of all, let's break 4D. Okay, let's break 4D. What is four dimension? What is the fourth dimension? So we live in a three-dimensional space. Okay, we live in a three-dimensional space, right? We live in a three-dimensional space, and I like to assume that four dimension is a dimension that involves time, where time and space coexist. Right now, we are not moving along time, we are just moving along space. But in the fourth dimension, we might be moving along time as well, so that we are both present in the past and the future and the present at the same time. So that might be what fourth dimension is. Fourth dimension exists, we are just not aware of it existing. Right now, in this exact moment, it could exist. According to my knowledge, that's how I see fourth dimension. So in this very own exact moment, something can happen. Something have already happened, or something might is like yet to happen, but it has already happened in the fourth dimension. So if you say you are gonna move at the speed of light, and if you are considering the time dilation, when you are moving at a certain speed, time also moves at a certain interval, like a certain speed. At a certain point, time stops. Time just ceases to stop because light ceases to exist at that point. Let's just say you are going too fast, like super fast, even faster than light. Let's just assume we are faster than light. How do you think the information is gonna get carried? How do you think the information is carried on a regular basis? Let's say you are faster than the light, then how do you think your eye is gonna get that information that something exists? So you just physically leave your physical body, because eye is a physical matter. Eye is made up of carbon atoms. Obviously, our human body is made up of carbon atoms. That's why we exist. We are just carbon, right? So in order for you to perceive the fourth dimension, or if in order to for you to take the information from the fourth dimension, you should not exist in a three dimension, third dimension. So if we are going at the speed of light, we are basically just cease to exist, because the information doesn't. You might be a genius, monkey, because I am a person that assumes, or I am a person that believes in something that exists within a human body. That's we are breaking up fast in a forward motion. Still, that doesn't mean that information has to get to your eye. When you are moving at a certain speed, obviously you are breaking the time barrier, right? So when you are breaking the time barrier, how do you know that? And you are going forward. So you are just going to your past. You are not entering the fourth dimension. You are definitely breaking the fourth barrier. I mean the time barrier, but not like, I don't think you are capable enough to exist or like enter the fourth dimension. Sure, if you are fast enough, time travel is possible, but that's already been stated. I'm just figuring out how you think that just because of you are going at a certain speed, you think that you have entered the fourth dimension, because we are clearly laid down the platform where if in your in fourth dimension you are technically in the past, present, and future at the same time. With the prism, what's the prism gonna do? Prism just splits light. Okay, prism splits light. You think prism splits a light? Yeah, we become the information itself. Right now, the information exists in a carbon. Ah, let me put this into perspective. We are just compilation of certain information, and this information is currently stored in a USB driver, and the USB driver that we know is this flesh and bone. So, if the information is trying to leave this USB driver, how is it being transferred? Obviously, to a certain object, certain medium that a human mind can comprehend. You become a matter like speed, light with a speed. There are so many things that is weird about that topic. When you are going so fast at a prism, you say we tend to become a matter that is beyond human comprehension. You are saying at the speed of light or beyond the speed of light? It's too much shit. It's just consumes that beyond is better. Beyond is obviously better, but going beyond the speed of light isn't possible because of the energy it consumes. If you are trying to propose something, it should be obviously it can be it's theory. That's what theory exists for. That's what hypotheses are. That's what no what else paradoxes are. But like if you are trying to go beyond the speed of light, you become a matter that didn't exist because information simply hasn't traveled yet. Light obviously doesn't have information. I mean, light has information. Fuck, what am I trying to say? Light is the information. We know a certain object exists there because it is okay. I read what you said. It is possible because scientists have tried to like transfer shit at the speed of light. People already might have tried to transfer shit at the speed of light, but like okay, let me get my brain straight. I know a obviously okay, there is a huge paradox here. It's not a paradox, but there is a huge hypothesis here. So many shit opens up when you go beyond the speed of light because you simply don't know what's beyond the speed of light. Just like our map of the universe, we don't know what's beyond that because the light haven't reached that. Yes. So if you're trying to go beyond the speed of light, what do you think happens? What do you think ceases to exist? Lights are just protons. Let's just break down light. Lights are just protons that are traveling in a vacuum space, okay? And the space is vacuum because there are no atoms on it. The space reside in is the way it is because there are all atoms that have combined in a certain sequence. Oxygen exists because the atoms of oxygen are combined in a certain sequence. That's why we breathe in oxygen. So if the atoms of oxygen cease to exist in this exact moment and this very own exact space becomes vacuum, right? Whatever I said has to make sense, right? So if you are trying to go at a speed of light in a vacuum, which might be possible, but even though let's just assume it, you have made a certain object that goes beyond the speed of light with all the energy it has. Where do you think? What do you think is gonna happen to the fabric of space when it breaks a barrier? What do you think it's gonna happen? Split the atom. This causes an energy similar to the atom bomb released in a linear motion. That's so risky, but that's what science is. The prism will break. We don't exist in the past. We just exist in the present and future. Let me just say it again. This very own moment is exactly the past, present, and future. This very own millisecond. Even now we are traveling. We are not traveling. We are just existing in the past, present, and future. Because the exact 1 second before what I just said is in the past, and this very own moment is in the present, and the shit that I'm about to say is in the future. So we currently technically exist in the present state. Yeah, because we have limited our body to exist only in our one state, which is our physical state, aka present. Yeah, we can't comprehend the information from the future. If we tend to do that, then we don't break the fourth dimension. We are technically breaking the space and time and entering a timeline where we just we are not gods. We are not gods. We are just being as interdimensional beings that just can control our own life with past, present, and future, because we are just constantly making constant changes. Like we are just changing everything to a certain point where the decisions you make cease to exist, because you just keep on changing the decisions. It's so it's like it's like entropy. You are just breaking the chaos order. You are just entering the chaos order. You just entered. It's like you just broke the shit, man. It's just entropy all over again. You have broken the line. Let's assume, okay, we are still talking about going beyond the speed of light. So let's just assume what happens when you go beyond the speed of light. Your physical body exists technically. It just exists. But the information you get are different because the information haven't traveled to your brain yet, or like your eyes yet. Let's just assume that. You think you are able to see. Do you think protons superpositions exist, right? You see, that's where it's like I don't know if you exist in now and tomorrow. That's a cool concept that you exist in now and tomorrow. It's a very cool concept that you exist in now and tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure if someone is watching this shit from the in the future or like even in the present, it is a very good science fiction novel that you can create a very good science fiction novel from the concept of from when to now and tomorrow. Isn't that what clairvoyance is? Like I'm pretty sure future sight is just your body in the present and your brain in the future, subconscious. That's how astral projection works. But you don't go at the speed of light. You just project your subconscious into a different plane where you can just see future sight. Where you just have future sight from like observation arcade. The speed will help you it, brother. Let me tell you something. My grandpa is a temple priest. Okay, he gets. I don't know how to say it in English, but like my grandpa is a temple priest, and he gets he. How do I say it? I don't know how to like. Let me say it in Tamil. எங்க தாத்தா சாமி ஆடுவாரு. ஓகே. எங்க தாத்தா சாமி ஆடுவாரு. ஸோ do you think he is going beyond the speed of light? எங்க தாத்தா சாமி ஆடும்போது நெறைய குறி சொல்லுவாரு. Yeah, God has entered him. So where do you think the God has entered from? Did you think the god went in a speed of light to enter into my grandpa? And it's not just my grandpa, my whole bloodline, or like my whole ancestors do that shit. Like my grandma do that shit, my grandpa does that shit, my great grandfather did that shit, my cousins do that shit. Do you think those beings are breaking the time barrier and like entering a physical realm where do you think beings are breaking a physical time barrier just to enter a human body? For what? To guide us, obviously. Yeah, I can understand that. I'm not saying it like, I'm just trying to comprehend from a perspective of a god, which I can't. I'm not a god. It's like traveling. Yes, I understand that. Tata Sami, like when my grandfather is, Sami Adumbodu, it's like he's just, I don't understand him. I wish I could understand what he's going through, but I don't. And whenever, even if I try to ask him what's happening at that time, he just say, I don't know, or like, I just can't comprehend. People can't comprehend what's happening with them. He just say, God. So I know where you are getting this from. Traveling into a fourth dimension is possible with if you are like if you break the speed barrier, speed of light, obviously, because that's like the fastest. That's like the only thing that humankind knows. Fuck it, I'm mispronouncing it. That's like it is a common, way of saying that the fastest object in this universe. But there could be an being, there could be an entity, there could be an object that can travel faster than the speed of light that we just haven't discovered. The possibilities are endless, obviously. I don't want to get, I wanted to stay in the scientific path, but it's way. The reason why I'm more scientific is because my grandfather, it's so weird. It's weird, but like so fascinating as well. Because I come from the family where we get possessed by gods. I'm just gonna say it. I come from a family where we get possessed by gods, but then science exists. It's like pseudoscience and science. What do you think? I used to think that that was just an act. I used to think that that was just just acting. But then when I see it happen to my own grandfather, you think God is coming from a black hole, brother? That's not how black hole works. I have already talked about black hole. If a black hole exists, then a white hole exists. Every information that has entered to a black hole will exit to a white hole. I have already made a. I didn't not make a video about it, but that's like one of my strongest theories. So if a black hole exists, a white hole exists, and the information that went through a black hole will exit through a white hole. I have already literally in this very own book I have written about it. Okay, I'm not gonna. This is not public information, but I have clearly wrote about it. I was trying to do a whole thesis about spiritual beings. I don't know. I was trying to do something, man. I was trying to learn about history of the world, I guess, history of humankind or spirituality or fuck. I don't know because we, yeah, we just saw hu- that human life form came into existence because of asteroids. But then where did this other plane of medium come from? Like, where did this fourth dimension come from? We just saw the history of the world. but then we are arguing about fourth dimension being scientific and makes sense. Yeah, yeah. That's why I love science. I'm more a science guy that even though I come from a family which heavily believes in religion, I'm a more science guy. Does that even make sense? Like I worship God. I clearly have gods behind me and in front of me as well. You can't see it, but like I literally have God in front of me. Like I literally have gods in front of me. But like I'm more of a science guy because of gods and because of Hinduism, the way I speak about Hinduism. A lot of people think that I am disrespecting Hinduism, but no, you guys don't understand Hinduism. People think that being possessed by a god is an act, or like people obviously think whatever whatever they think, but like science doesn't make sense at that point. Obviously, I have not gotten. You can see the god behind you. Yeah, obviously. I have always wondered what it feels to be in that state, the state where my grandfather exists. What happens to his own subconscious? He is aware that, things are happening around him, but it's still God. How do I even say this shit to another person? I don't know if people can comprehend that. Me not being a science guy, if I say my grandfather is being processed by God, what do you think? You think I'm just a random guy? I mean, we can say it. Tamil culture can understand it. Indian culture might understand it. But when you are trying to say this shit on a foreign stage, what do you think? I'm not like thinking from a perspective of what they might think. They might think I'm a I don't know whatever they think. But I'm trying to like communicate with them. I'm trying to make them understand what we are going through. So yeah, going through this going beyond the speed of light just to enter a human body is just not possible, man. I mean, it is possible, but like at a certain point, you stop. I mean, you can still stop going fast. This is a religious belief. What is a religious belief? What do you think is a religious belief? That God possesses humans? Or like what do you think? Tamil culture is a mixture of recent Tamil culture is a mixture of religious belief and science. But before it was, you can believe it. That's the problem. I don't want people to believe it. I want people to understand it and like it should not be a belief. It should be a fact. I'm trying to prove it as a fact. When we say it's a religious belief, and if we say we are believing it, it becomes a myth. But if it's a fact, then they have to accept it. I'm not trying to force feed them. I'm just trying to make them accept it just because it exists. I'm If they are willing to accept it, then they might be willing to do some more research into it, some more knowledge can be shared, something can be figured it out because my stupid brain can figure it out. So if I'm talking to someone else that can understand what I'm trying to say and just have the right mental brain to accept what I'm saying, then we can get into a conversation and we can talk about it. I might. How's the theory? The theory is good. Going beyond the speed of light definitely has a potential, but it's so bland. That's. I don't know if I'm being rude, but your theory is exciting. It's just so bland. You said if you go beyond the speed of light, you might enter the fourth dimension. But in order to exist in the fourth dimension, you have to constantly be moving around the speed of light. At that point, you are constantly wasting your energy. The moment you stop to go beyond the speed of light, you stop to exist in the fourth dimension. Doesn't that make any sense? We don't stop to exist in this third dimension. We are constantly existing in the third dimension. So in order to constantly exist in the fourth dimension, you have to make an alternative way. It should not be just a one way. It should be like a permanent trip. So if you suggest that your theory, if your theory suggests that just going beyond the speed of light, you can enter into a fourth dimension even through a prism, then how do you even, like stay in the fourth dimension? You have to constantly be moving in the speed of light through the prism. That's that's how usually things starts. Just because an apple fall on a random person's head, gravity ceases to exist. So don't uh, discourage yourself or your motives. Try to do some research, try to make it make sense so that you can become the next Einstein, man. That's how Newton works. That's how Newton worked in the first place. A random apple fall on a random person's mind, brain, head, and then he just became Newton. That's it. And Einstein was like, damn, this shit doesn't make sense. Let me make it make even more sense. And he was like, yeah, space is a fabric, time is also a fabric, gravity is just a force acting on this fabric. I don't know. So yeah, you believe in something, figure out a way to prove it logically, you just become the next Newton, man. Traveling through a black hole is not that hard, to be honest, because when you the moment you reach a certain point in black hole, time, people say time itself bends. So when the time itself bends, you are currently technically frozen in time, so you don't know if you have entered the black hole or not. And you just might have swell been existed, ex, it exited exit, like came out of a black hole. So you don't know if you have entered the black hole or exited a black hole. You don't even know if there is a black hole near you. It's so weird. You might not know it. But a black hole ceases to exist for like a tenth of a millisecond. Not a tenth of a millisecond, but even lesser than a millisecond. So technically, black hole just cease, like they just pop and pop out every certain seconds. I don't know. Certain fraction of a second. That's how wormhole exists. If you Google or about wormhole, you will learn about black hole. Try to learn about wormhole in order to learn about black hole. I know it's weird, but that's how wormhole exists as well, man. Works as well. Sorry. You can just build a ship in order to go through a black hole. You don't need a high end ship. You can just go through it because time ceases to exist at that point. Because the black hole is so dense that it even bends the reality of space and time. That's how black holes are measured according to my knowledge. So you physically don't know if you have entered a black hole or not because time and information. Even if you enter a black hole, you are just gonna exit out of a white hole and you are just gonna like, yeah, this theory due to interstellar. Obviously, people have theories due to interstellar. Interstellar is like the, I don't even know what to compare it to. Like, Interstellar is the reason why people became science fiction, science nerds. According to me, I don't know how else to explain this shit. A lot of people that I know become science nerd because of Interstellar movie, man. It's such a fantasy movie. It's such a good science fiction movie. But yeah, if you enter I am a strong believer of white holes and black holes. So if you enter a black hole, you are gonna exit out of a white hole to a point where time is at its very own beginning, and information is also still processing, and all the heat is still hot. So the moment you enter a black hole, you feel like you exited a black hole. Do you feel like you have exited a black hole? Let's say you jumped into a black hole and you exit through a white hole. What happens then? Do you get boiled alive because of the heat that is produced by the white hole? Or are you in a constant loop where you are entering a black hole and exiting a white hole at the point where it's a black hole? No, your information is digested and converted into a certain information, certain exact information. So your information is just converted into the same information in a different system. So in order for your that information to exist, that in that system, it should go through the same process of existence. So if you enter a black hole, you just, if Muthu enters a black hole, he will just become a Muthu of another universe, and he will have the same information. But the chances of returning to the same universes are less because you might just, it not it, I have already talked about it. It can be 1 and 3, or it can be 3 and 5. It has zero reasons for it to be 1 and 3 and 3 and 1. It can be 1 and 3 and it can be 3 and 5. So just you might just get lost in the vast universe. Wait, if you enter a black hole, you are in a constant loop of ending up in a black hole, even in a different universe, because of the way information works. It's like it's just a circle. It's just a loop. You are just constantly in a loop where you are just entering a black hole, exiting to a white hole, figuring out your way. to the same black hole again, and then again entering a black hole and exiting a black hole because of the information you have written yourself. That's just stupid way. I might just make I I'm calling this Muthu's black hole paradox. I'm just publishing this clip online. If you enter a black hole, this might be a paradox. I'm making this online and I don't know what the soundtrack is, okay? This is The Secret History by Kerry. I don't know, The Secret History, and Andrew Skeet is on it. I don't know who Andrew Skeet is. But the basic understanding of this theory or paradox or whatever you call it is that if you enter a black hole, your information is passed through that black hole, right? Your information is passed through that black hole, and that information is registered through a white hole into a different universe. So you live with the same information in another universe, and when you have the same information, there is a high chance of you doing the same thing again, but just from the scratch. So you're just in a constant loop of going into a black hole, returning out of a white hole, entering a different universe, then again going into a black hole, entering a white hole, starting it from scratch, again going into a black hole, exiting to a white hole, starting from scratch, going into a black hole, exiting through a white hole, starting from scratch. It's just a bad loop. There's no end to it because the information is just being processed again and again and again and again, and that's where it ends. Unless some way or somehow you yourself want to end it because you are conscious that there is no limit to it. The reason why I'm saying this, Manadu movie POV, yeah, technically, Manadu movie POV, Simbu fans, I guess, because time ceased to exist. The information of that time is existing through that. There is two paradoxes here. Either you don't know whether you have entered a black hole or not, because time ceased to exist at that point. So technically, when you the closer you get to a black hole, time just breaks and you don't know if you have entered it or not. And the moment you exist out of a black hole, it's like you feel like you have existed, but then you just didn't exist. You are just in a constant loop of like you yourself put in this constant loop of entering to a black hole forever, for just forever. Cause why not? This might be a black hole paradox, and I'm naming it as Muthu's black hole paradox. Let me Google if it exists or not. I just Googled Muthu's black hole paradox, like as if it exists. Black hole information paradox already exists. Fuck. I hate when things exist. I hate when things cease to exist. So apparently, Muthu black hole information paradox exists. Huh? Paradox is an unsolved problem in physics and paradox that appears when the predictions of a quantum mechanics and quantum relativity are combined. The theory of general relativity predicts the existence of black holes or regions of space and time from which nothing, not even light, can escape. In the 1961, Hawking applied semi-classical approach of quantum field theory. Such and found that an isolated camus paused. You don't need to see my face for this, man. Information paradox processing a black hole is formed through a physical process and evaporates away entirely to Hawking. Only about total so this shit says the information would be permanently lost. I am saying that information might not be lost, it's just converted into another thing because of thermodynamics. Energy cannot be created non destroyed, it's just converted. What do you mean by lost? It exists. Ah. Can I get a general like synopsis of what he's trying to say? I would like to understand what he's trying to say. Let me figure out if I can make a. Yeah, there is a TED talk about it. Let's watch this. In space, no one can hear you scream, and in black hole, no one can see you disappear because the light didn't return. You just vanish out of existence. That makes a lot of sense.
Scientists work on the boundaries of the unknown, where every new
As I did talk about like you existing in a quantum block, I just also talked about multiverse, the possibilities of a multiverse existing within a black hole because of a black hole.
piece of knowledge forms a path into a void of uncertainty, and nothing is more uncertain or potentially enlightening than a paradox. Throughout history, paradoxes have threatened to undermine everything we know, and just as often, they've reshaped our understanding of the world. Today, one of the biggest paradoxes in the universe threatens to unravel the fields of general relativity and quantum mechanics, the black hole information paradox. To understand this paradox, we first need to define what we mean by information. Typically, the information we talk about is visible to the naked eye. For example, this
I did read you are sleepy, but you woke me up. I was also sleepy as well, but you woke me up because of science. Now I can't. This might be the last theory. Just hang on.
kind of information tells us that an apple is red, round, and shiny. But physicists are more concerned with quantum information. This refers to the quantum properties of all the particles that make up that apple, such as their position, velocity, and spin. Every object in the universe is composed of particles with unique quantum properties. This idea is evoked most significantly in a vital law of physics, the
Oof.
total amount of quantum information in the universe must be conserved. Even if you destroy an object beyond recognition, its quantum information is never permanently deleted. And theoretically, knowledge of that information would allow us to recreate the object from its particle components. Conservation of information isn't just an arbitrary rule, but a math.
So the information, my information, just along with its data of time, it will be just recreated in another universe, just like I have explained.
Mathematical necessity, upon which much of modern science is built. But around black holes, those foundations get shaken. When an apple enters a black hole, it seems as though it leaves the universe, and all its quantum information becomes irretrievably lost. However,
Yeah.
this doesn't immediately break the laws of physics. The information is out of sight, but but it might still exist within the black hole's mysterious void. Alternatively, some theories suggest that information doesn't even make it inside the black hole at all. Seen from outside, it's as if the apple's quantum information is encoded on the surface layer of the black hole, called the event horizon. As the black hole's mass increases, the surface of the event horizon increases as well. So it's possible that as a black hole swallows an object, it also grows large enough to conserve the object's quantum information. But whether information is conserved inside the black hole or on its surface, the laws of physics remain intact, until you account for Hawking radiation. Discovered by Stephen Hawking in 1974, this phenomenon shows that black holes are gradually evaporating. Over incredibly long periods of time, black holes lose mass as they shed particles away from their event horizons. Critically, it seems as though the evaporating particles are unrelated to the information the black hole encodes, suggesting that a black hole and all the quantum information it contains could be completely erased. Does that quantum information truly disappear? If not, where does it go? While the evaporation process would take an incredibly long time, the questions it raises for physics are far more urgent. The destruction of information would force us to rewrite some of our most fundamental scientific paradigms. But fortunately, in science, every paradox is an opportunity for new discoveries. Researchers are investigating a broad range of possible solutions to the information paradox. Some have theorized that information actually is encoded in the escaping radiation in some way we can't yet understand. Others have suggested the paradox is just a misunderstanding of how general relativity and quantum field theory interact. Respectively, these two theories describe the largest and smallest physical phenomena, and they're notoriously difficult to combine. Some researchers argue that a solution to this and many other paradoxes will come naturally with a unified theory of everything. But perhaps the most mind-bending theory to come from exploring this paradox is the holographic principle. Expanding on the idea that the 2D surface of an event horizon can store quantum information, this principle suggests that the very boundary of the observable universe is also a 2D surface encoded with information about real 3D objects. If this is true, it's possible that reality as we know it is just a holographic projection of that information. If proven, any of these theories would open up new questions.
I mean, there is a world where it can be true. Okay. Let ask you one question. The fact that everything can be a hologram is true because atoms technically don't touch each other. We are just feeling our repulsive forces, and the information of that repulsive forces go to our brain, and the brain makes us feel like that we are touching organisms. So, have you watched Steins Gate? No, but I have heard it's a slow show. Steins Gate, huh? I am. Steins Gate, I've talked about it. Talked about what? Muthu's black hole paradox. Muthu's black hole multiverse paradox. Fuck it, I'm just gonna name it that. The same info. Are you talking about Hawking radiation or are you talking about Muthu's black hole multiverse paradox? Try watching it. Right now, I'm not in the mood to watch anime, man. If I get committed to an anime, it's gonna be so hard for me. Right now, I'm not trying to watch, I'm trying to watch Dark as well as just just live life. I'm trying to just live life. I don't know. If I get addicted to anime again, I might not live life again, man. I just want to watch YouTube videos, just want to consume normal content. I don't want to do try. Fine, I will try, but if it's boring, I might not try. That's the problem with me and you know f- science fiction or like any story that involves science. I can read a I can very well read a theory or like thesis about certain stuff. I can read stuff or I can watch it if it's interesting. But if it's like a science fiction and if I feel it's boring, then I'm not just gonna watch it. I'm just not gonna watch it. If it's boring, I will drop it in first episode no matter what it talks about. I might just watch a YouTube video on like what science guy is trying to say about science or not. Can't watch 25 episodes if it's boring. I will tell that now. So, be aware. I'm not promising anything. But yeah, what do you think about Muthu's black hole theory? I know you just talked about your fourth entering the fourth dimension, but it was so your fourth dimension traveling was good. Not gonna lie, it clearly opened my black hole paradox, and I love that name, Muthu's black hole paradox. I just love that name.